Hey there gamers, and welcome to another episode of our weekly Dreamsnap series. Now on today's refresh day, we have a lot of exciting things to discuss. I think today's most exciting topic is going to be previous Star Path items finally returning to the Valley in the premium shop. However, with this week's current Dreamsnap challenge, I can see a lot of players maybe thinking this was a bit of a missed opportunity, and we're going to discuss why in today's video. We'll also be taking a look at my Dreamsnap results and my submission for the Villainous Lair challenge. And as we mentioned, we will go over what's in the premium shop today. And another thing we're going to be discussing in today's video is a hidden utility to one of the items in the Big Hero 6 bundle. So if you haven't picked up that bundle, stay tuned until the end of the video. With all that said, before we dive in, do me a very big favor and hit that like button for me, as it helps more people discover my channel. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. And with that introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at my Dreamsnap results first. So if you know me, you know I love the villainous themes. They're so fun. I feel like, some people don't care for them, but I've always been a big fan of them. So I'm excited to see how we do on this submission. And here are the results. We scored a 79.07 and ranked 3,217, getting our 4,000 moonstones and 180 pixel dust. Now I must say I'm very happy with this score and rank, because with where I took my Dreamsnap, I did not have a whole lot of room, and I was a little bit worried I wouldn't have enough tagged items. Because as we mentioned in my previous video, using several items with at least 4 or 3 tags can be very helpful for your score and can also often lead to a better rank. So I'm really glad this one did well with the kind of limited space I was working with. With that said, let's claim our rewards here, and then I'm going to show you the Dreamsnap. And here it is. So this was my take on Villainous Lair, and when I say I don't have a lot of space, it's because I was in Dazzle Beach, and I'm really close to a cliff wall here, and everything past those thorny pillars is water, so I could only fit in what I could have in this area, but I also didn't want it to be too cluttered. The idea with the submission was to go with kind of a sea witch similar to Ursula here, which is what we drew influence from. And one of the things I really love about this Dreamsnap is the avatar herself. Now I know this wasn't an outfit challenge, but that actually was a good thing because it enabled me to use this costume, whereas anytime you use a costume in an outfit challenge, it has a pretty terrible impact on your score. But the costume isn't the only thing I really like about the avatar here. I love the fact that we can change the eyes now, and giving her these black and purple eyes was just so fun. It matches the scary squirrel here. Though this is a very small detail, and I would assume most people voting did not see this detail because most people aren't going to enlarge every photo. But I knew the detail was there, and I really loved it. Now, in terms of decor, I opted for a very symmetrical submission here. And while not all of my submissions are symmetrical, I do like to play with symmetry from time to time, as it's just really satisfying to look at. I did use a filter on this one that brightens all the colors, and I felt like that was a little bit of a risk, because with the Villainous Lair theme, I feel like a lot of voters might be looking for dark and dreary. But when I was checking out the filters for this submission, I really wanted to use this filter because of the way the sky looked when it was active. Without this filter, the night sky was a bit bland, and you couldn't really see the contrast of color quite as much. But when I activated the filter, I got this bright, purplish color on the left-hand side, kind of fading into a blue on the right, and then a very dark deep blue or black right at the top center. The filter also served to brighten a lot of the decor I used, like these coral ferns or the sea anemones, the granite fire pits, and best of all was the way it brightened up those Nightmare Before Christmas fountains. I just thought it looked really cool to have this bright green glowing liquid here to kind of go with the witch theme. I have a couple of cauldrons in the back too, but they might be hard to spot with some of the ferns and things in front of them. As for our foreground here in the bottom left and bottom right, we have these glowing coral ferns. And then if you look at the left hand and right hand side, you see these glowing spirals. Those are actually Ursula's throne. I just captured the very edge of it, kind of creeping into the photo here. Now, of course, for the background, we already touched on the thorny pillars and Ursula's home. But what I really didn't mention at all was the amount of reeds I put in the water. I probably placed about 100 because I did not want the water to show here. I wanted it to feel more like a marsh. And yes, it's a tiny detail, but yeah, if you look at the background, you'll see all of this dark green, and you actually can't see any water. And I'm not kidding when I say I probably placed 200 reeds to get that effect. It was pretty insane. The last thing I'll touch on here is the sinister brick. The sinister brick being black and dark just gives it more of a villainous vibe and helps balance out all of these bright glowing colors I have. All in all, I'm really proud of this Dreamsnap, super happy with the way it turned out, and I think it's going to look amazing in our portfolio. And now that we've covered my Dreamsnap, let's take a look at this week's brand new Dreamsnap challenge. Alright, so this week's challenge is called DIY Theme Park. This is a decor challenge that states, decorate your valley by turning it into the theme park of your dreams. Mandatory items are going to be outdoors and lavish, while bonus items are going to be quirky and Disney. Now, before I talk about this challenge too much, let's take a look at the premium shop because, like I mentioned, previous Star Path items have finally started returning. Now, you would think some of the items featured here would be featured in the premium shop as well to give everyone a fair shake at this, but sadly, only one of the items featured here in this demonstration is in the premium shop, and sadly, it is not one of the Disney rides. Alright, and here we are in this week's premium shop lineup. And as you can see, we once again have 2 tabs to choose from. And down here on the bottom right is one of the most desirable items. It is from the very first Star Path. It's the Adventure is Out There balloon basket. It's something so many players have wanted to get their hands on for so long. So it's really cool to see that in here. However, moving on to the second page, I feel like it might be a bit disappointing that we have this week's current Dreamsnap challenge and there's no Ferris wheel, there's no park benches. The reason I think some people might be a little disappointed here is every time we have a Dreamsnap challenge where theme park core is encouraged, I see a lot of comments from players who feel like they're at a disadvantage not owning things like the Ferris wheel or the Dumbo ride or the park benches and things of that nature. Now, I don't think this is going to be a problem for everybody, but I do feel like this was a missed opportunity from Gameloft here. I think if they would have added some of these items, you know, maybe instead of the blue whimsical companion pack, maybe instead of the Big Hero 6 workspace, they could have thrown in the Ferris wheel or the Dumbo ride or something. Now, with that said, we're gonna revisit the challenge, and if you're one of those players that doesn't have those items, I'm gonna give you some ideas and recommendations of some things that you can use that can really work well with this theme, even if you are missing rides. First off, we do have the It's a Small World rainbow pillar. Now, this wasn't from the Star Path, this was from the premium shop, but the original variant, which was gold and white, was in the Star Path. And this item here is really good for a Disney park. If you don't own it yet, might be worth picking up for this week's challenge. On top of that, some of our new items would also be fantastic for this challenge. The Monsters Incorporated attraction would look amazing in a Disney park concept, so I think that's definitely worth picking up if you don't have any of the other rides. At least you can have a ride in your park, which, by the way, you don't necessarily need rides to get the Disney park effect. The other item that would be great would be the Centennial Park Fountain. Really cool to see this. By the way, I am going to purchase these items. We're going to place them at the end of the video so you can get a good look at them. But yeah, both of these I think are wonderful additions for a Disney park aesthetic or for this challenge. And so is the Adventurers Out There balloon basket. We might not have gotten the Ferris wheel or some of the other items. Maybe what they're gonna do is do the Star Paths in order, because like I said, the Adventurers Out There balloon basket is from the very first Star Path. So maybe that's the devs' intention here, just moving through the Star Paths in order. Maybe they'll do one item from each Star Path and then go back to the first Star Path again and release another item from that. For now, I'm gonna pick up these items and then we're gonna revisit this week's challenge, and I'm gonna give you some ideas and concepts that you can use to do a Disney park aesthetic without necessarily using the rides. Oh, and I do have one question. I really wanna know how much this cost as far as moonstones. I have the previous Star Path items, so I've been really curious how many moonstones they're gonna charge for these items. If you didn't own this balloon basket and you had the option to purchase it today, please let me know in the comments below how many moonstones this cost, because as of right now, I have no idea. Now for some ideas for this DIY theme park, just in case you don't have any of these park rides. Now, one of the very interesting things about this week's challenge is there are hardly any items that have all 4 tags. Surprisingly, it's just these giant silver ornaments and this Centennial Park fountain. Let me know if you've discovered anything else that has the tags outdoors, quirky, Disney, and lavish. But as of right now, I only see these 2 items with all 4 tags. Now, as far as some ways to work around this without park rides, honestly, making like a really beautiful courtyard with fountains and towers like these elegant town square clocks here can be a great way to do a Disney park scene. You can also utilize certain buildings like Chez Remy and Remy's house to have sort of like a hotel and restaurant area in your park. Because as you guys know, Disney parks are a lot more than just rides. Now, yes, I do know that houses and buildings will not necessarily help you with tags. So you may not want to use a tremendous amount, or if you do, you could put them pretty far in the background. So like, let's say you did your Dreamsnap in the meadow and you built your park there. You can put Chez Remy and Remy's house, or one of the premium house castles, or Beast and Belle's castle in the plaza up above the meadow, and then you can see it in the background right in front of whatever courtyard you build for your park. Also, there are a lot of really cool fountains you can utilize for this build. This really large one here is actually craftable if you have the gold. So this is another item any player could get, and it would look really cool in a courtyard, though I will warn you, this item is massive, so it's going to take up a lot of space and may cut back on some of your other tag items. Now, the partner statue is probably one of the best statues to use because it's new, it's fresh, it has great tags, and having this item in your Dreamsnap will immediately give it that Disney park aesthetic, even if you don't have rides. And of course, there is one ride I think just about everybody has, which is Woody's Carousel. You don't necessarily have to use this, it's just a little option for you. This Mickey Mouse water tower is another nice item. They fixed it! Oh my god, I just realized they finally added the yellow lights. I have not even noticed it until now, until I looked at it for this video. If you saw my Forest of Valor tour, you heard me complain about how in the crafting menu, there are these little yellow lights on it, but before the last update, there were no lights. It was just a black Mickey cap on top of this water tower. I can't believe I didn't notice it until now, but that's really cool that they finally fixed this item. Now, of course, aside from certain buildings, castles, fountains, clock towers, and other items, things like the elegant gazebo have always been very popular in theme park-esque Dreamsnaps. And I also think utilizing things like the picnic benches or these little resting benches can be really good if you missed out on the park benches. Lastly, don't forget that you can bring in Disney classic characters like Goofy, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, or pretty much anyone in your valley to bring even more of that Disney park element to your Dreamsnap. Now, even with all of that, I still really do wish they had made the decision to bring some of the Disney park rides to the shop. This is the main reason I've been excited for previous Star Path items to return in general, is simply because, I just think everyone should have a fair shake at Dreamsnaps. And again, I'm not bashing the devs here or complaining. All I'm stating is that I think some players might be disappointed based on the complaints I usually hear when a Dreamsnap is pushing people towards Disney park items. A lot of people missed out on those items. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on this week's challenge and the new options in the premium shop in the comments below. And finally, we're going to take a look at these items here. So we're going to start with the big topic this week, which is the Star Path item returning. It is cool that this one came back. I'm super happy to see it, and I know a lot of other players are as well. And it may not be a Disney park ride, but I think it's going to look great in some of the Disney park Dreamsnaps we'll be seeing next week. Next up is this Centennial Fountain, and I really recommend picking this up if you have the Moonstones. It is really good for the current challenge, considering it is one of 2 items I found with all 4 tags. And challenge aside, it's also a really cute piece of decor. It's got a lot of colors, and I love the animation here. I love that we have even the fountains running in these bottom pools. It looks really good. And yeah, even if you're not going to use it for this week's challenge, still a great item to have in your valley. Next up is going to be the It's a Small World Rainbow Pillar. And like I said before, this one is also great for this week's challenge. And if you weren't aware, this one actually has its own little musical audio that plays. And next up, we have the Monsters Incorporated attraction, and this one is pretty cool. It's got its own little animation that you can activate here. It's got its own audio. We're not going to play it for this video, but it's got the car beeping, and you can hear the car running and stuff. It's pretty fun. Now, it is quite large, but so are most of the park ride items. And another thing about this one that's really cool is if we ever get a Monsters Incorporated Dreamsnap challenge or theme, the back of this with the doors could be really useful. Also, even if you didn't want to show this part of the ride in your Disney park Dreamsnap, you could always show the door side and have like Mike and Sully trapped over here so you can make it look like they're mascots kind of hanging out. I just think that could be a cool idea as well. Now for the Junior Wilderness Explorer backpack. Now this is a pretty cool piece of clothing, and it could be really good for future Dreamsnap challenges. I think it has a lot of detail. $17.50 is a bit much for a backpack, but I mean, that's kind of what some of the great wings and stuff cost, and like I said, it could end up going over really well. I know they released this backpack this week because it's gonna tie into the Adventure Is Out There balloon basket. Next up, we're gonna talk about the Blue Whimsical Companion Pack. Now, this is one of 2 packs, and each pack comes with 4 of these Blue Whimsical Companions. They're very fun and ethereal, and they have this cloudy animation. One of my favorite things to do with them is utilize them in the Forgotten Lands. And that's just because they look like little ghosts here in my dark forest. You know, all the trees are dead, everything's bare bones, and I wanted it to seem like the wildlife here had become spirits because, you know, the forest had just been tainted with evil and now they're just existing here as little ghosts. But yeah, fun little idea. You can do what you want with them, but yeah, I do love these little Blue Whimsical Companions. They're quite fun. And sometimes they can go over very well in Dreamsnaps. Now, the Haunted Mansion bundle, I feel, is definitely worth it. So these are not only useful for different Dreamsnaps, but they also make excellent decor for your valley. And once Halloween rolls around, you're going to be very happy you picked this up. Next up, we're going to talk about the Big Hero 6 Workshop bundle, which is a returning item. And I think this is the first time this item has returned to the premium shop. I could be wrong though. Now, this includes some really cool stuff. You get the desk here with its own animation and that glowing screen. I actually used it in a previous Dreamsnap. It was for my out of the toy box submission where I went with like somebody that liked playing with tech rather than toys. It was a really fun switch up on the challenge, and I definitely enjoyed using these items. Now the chair is really cool. I think it's one of the best looking like gaming chairs or workshop chairs that we have, and the toolbox and tool set are also a really fun addition to this, but there is a really nice hidden use to these tools as well. Now, some of you guys might not know this because you maybe didn't have the Big Hero 6 pack, but if you do a lot with Dreamsnaps, you know being able to trap your villagers in a certain spot or your animal companions is a great way to get the photo you want to get. But sometimes the items you're using to trap them kind of get in the way of the photo. That's why I am a big fan of these tools, because these tools, despite being very small and very easy to hide in a photo, they will block villagers and lock them in place. So if I brought Mirabelle over here and put her right here and then put these tools around her, she would not be able to move, and I could use that to my advantage in Dreamsnaps. So that's why I bought like 60 of these little tool sets from Scrooge, because they are great at trapping villagers and they don't stand that tall, so they will be kind of obscured in Dreamsnap photos and you can use them to trap villagers and pets. And there you have it, my friends. We've covered everything in the premium shop. We've talked about the new Dreamsnap challenge, and we went over my Dreamsnap results. If you enjoyed today's video, please do me a very big favor and hit that like button, as it helps more people discover my channel. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck in your Dreamsnap challenges. This week's YouTube video shoutouts redeemed on Twitch go to my friends Alexandra and Rebecca. I'd like to thank you both for the amazing years of friendship and for being such a big part of what makes our community so special.